We were also trying to reach out to a lot of investors. एक तो हमें ये नहीं पता था कि 15 लाख से 1.5 करोड़ और ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. And there is no guarantee that you will make more money. We started with 10 people. हमने 10 लोग 10 फार्मर्स लिए, उनके साथ हमने ऑनबोर्ड किया. अगर मार्केट में एक ज़्यादा प्राइस मिल भी सकती है तो भी फार्मर को नहीं मिलती है. एंड छोटे फार्मर्स जो होते हैं they do not have that kind of bargaining power because वो बहुत limited प्रोड्यूस लेकर जाते हैं अपना. So basically farmer earns the least in this entire value chain. The person earning the least is the one producing it. There's a lot of trouble the farmers face. Weighing से लेके the pricing cartel that gets fixed. I picked up that opportunity to build something for people who do not have exposure to tech, because if you are building product for them, the challenges and the problems that would come are way different. We reached a point where we were EBITDA positive with whatever amount of transactions that we were doing.
Hi Ayush, how are you?
Saahil, I'm doing good.
Actually, thank you so much for coming here. The intention to invite you here is to understand how this product economy and this product thing is working in the current, tech world. Because everything we see around, like more and more apps are coming and more problems are being solved through tech. And you have had experience of building your own company and then coming to this GenWise. So you had like a very vast experience of building products from ground zero. Then again, first let's just try to understand about your journey, how you came into product management or like product industries.
First of all, thank you for inviting me, Saahil. It's a pleasure. My journey into product, I would like to go back to the time when I actually started working. When in my first few roles, I had no connection with product, in fact. And there was no thought in my mind that product is a career that I would like to go for. In fact, I would say I did not know something like this actually existed. So I started my career in sales. I have been, the kind of place that I come from, pretty much everyone is either into agriculture or has been into, more corporate jobs. So there has been no one actually trying to build a business. That's something that not I've seen happening around me. And what I realized while I was in college, that engineering is not something that I'd like to go for. I mean, I was studying, but I did continue and complete my graduation, but it was not something that I was looking to build a career in. So what I wanted to do was to go about building my own business at some point. And since I did not have any personal exposure to any of that, what I thought would be a better choice is to work with small teams, small startups. This is back in 2016 when the hype around startups was getting built. Flipkart was already a success. Amazon came to the Indian market, and there were a lot of companies getting funded. So there was this trend where people felt that startups might give you that exposure on how to start building a business. Or personally for me, it was that. That is what I wanted to do. So right after my college, I decided to look for opportunities in product. I did get an opportunity from college placement, but that's not something that I actually pursued. And
what was that?
So I was a mechanical engineer, and the job that I got, it was a trainee, sort of an associate job in a distant city in Haryana. And I realized that even though I will go there and maybe start working, it's not something that I could see myself doing in 2, 3, 4 years from there, right? A lot of my friends actually went to take up mechanical jobs because they were good at what they were studying. I was not. And so what I decided that I'll pick up any other job that has anything closely, remotely to do with business. And since I actually had no real skill set, I would say, what I went ahead with was a sales job. So that is how I actually started my career. I worked for a couple of months in a company that I'd not like to name, of course. I left it in 2 months. I did not find that again. I did not feel that this is something that I'd like to do. It was a field sales job, and it's not something that I was looking forward to. And that is where I came across an edtech company. This is way back in 2016. So edtech was not really that big at that time. I mean, it's exponentially bigger right now, considering how many big players are there. But it wasn't the case back then. So I joined that company thinking that, okay, this is a new space. I was, of course, I was offered an opportunity, and I joined that company as a sales executive. right? And I was the second or third hire in that company. Again, a very small team. That is where I first actually understood, how startups function. So the kind of problems that you think you'll be working on or you'll be given to solve are very different than what you generally see in probably, let's say, corporates or companies that are actually established. Because there is no playbook, there is nothing that you know about this space. Every startup is trying to build solve a problem that they personally do not know much about.
Yeah, but what? Sorry to cut you, but what is the difference between a startup and a corporate? What's the primary difference there?
So that's something that I realized over a period of time when I had worked with a bigger company after having worked with 2-3 different small startups in early stage teams. What I realized was that startups offer you this unique lens of looking at the problems, because you are deeply involved in every part of the process. If you are working in a team of 10-15 people or even 50 people, you'll literally get to know every single thing that's happening, everything that the users, everything about the user feedback, everything about how the tech is working, from marketing to sales. You are involved in all of that, and you see things from a very wider lens, or I would say you can zoom out a little, right? And then you look at things in a different perspective. What I noticed when I worked in a bigger company that already had like 1,000+ people working there, that it was established, everyone was given a certain type of role, right? And that is the only thing that you worked on. You could of course go out of your way and maybe try to learn other things, but that does not necessarily mean that it would do something for your own work particularly, right? It would not I would not say that it would definitely help you do better at what you are doing in that company, right? But startups may, because let's say for an example, if you're a marketing guy and you are talking to salespeople about what the users are saying, right? There's one thought that you have in your mind that this is what I'm going to promote, this is what I'm going to run in ads or everything. Then you talk to salespeople and they tell you that this is what the users are saying, right? And you can always go back and think about that, okay, this is what I was trying to pitch to acquire those customers, and how the customers see the same thing is a very different approach, right? So that is something that you could inculcate in your plan, inculcate in your marketing material, inculcate in your strategy, and improve it, right? Because you also have the opportunity to do more in a startup, right? Because you could say there are like 2-3 people in maximum 2-3 people in a team. Like there will not be there's a team of 50 people, there will not be more than 2 people or 3 people in marketing, right? So everything that has to be done by those 3 people. So you've got more control, you've got more a bigger opportunity to do or implement those things, right? And experiment a lot, yes. So you are looking at all those things from a little zoomed out view, and that is what gives you more exposure. When everyone says that startups give you more exposure, this is what they mean. According to me, this is what they mean, because you are closely connected to everyone, from your users to your product to the team that are working with the users. It could be sales, it could be operations, how tech is actually working out for that user. So you're looking at all of that, right? And coming back to the point, so this is what I realized, that working in small teams gives you that exposure. And so I started my career, as I mentioned, in sales. In the same company, I went on to do marketing and content writing in a year. Then I became the marketing manager over there, and I was also working on sales ops, right? So of course, there are no fixed roles in startups, and especially in early teams. That is where, since I had worked in 3-4 different roles at that point, when I thought of switching, I was personally very confused, honestly, right? I had no idea what I should do next, because at one point I was thinking that, okay, have I acquired skills in multiple domains, or have I acquired skills in multiple domains or multiple roles, or have I done so many different things that I cannot say that this is something that I'm really good at, right? I could not say that I was great at sales. Could I say that I have been the best at marketing? I did not know, right? So there was always this feeling that what would work for me, what should I do next, right? So I went on to take up another opportunity in a very different industry. So from edtech to I moved to fantasy sports. That is back in 2019, I think a few months before COVID. and I was leading marketing and operations over there. So again, a small team, that is something that I felt is what I really felt that I would want to do. Working in small teams, looking at problems from start, understanding what a user thinks, what a user wants. So all that has been a part of the later decisions that I have made in my career as well. No matter which company that I worked with afterwards, this has been a very important factor for me to pick up the kind of opportunities that I'd like to, the companies that I'd like to work with. And I realized that one role where a lot of these skills could actually be used would be product. So in 2019, 2020, when I was actually looking to move to product as a domain, the hype again was getting built up, right? A lot of people were looking to make a career into product because it felt like an opportunity that, okay, you have to do multiple things. I think this is something that I also felt that, okay, I get to try multiple things and work on different problems always. Maybe I would say every week brings a new problem that you are trying to solve or work on. I did what I had to do. For a couple of months I studied, and I did land up my first opportunity in the corporate, in a big company that I was talking about. A great company, great culture great people to work with. I spent around a year there, and I realized that since it's a big company and my experience had been working with small companies, I would want again to utilize my skills in a small team, with lesser number of people, with more exposure to what we are building.
Yeah.
And that is when I switched again to another company in product, where I was building for the rural India. That is, we were working with dairy farmers. It's a very big company now. I worked with a company called Animall. It's India's biggest dairy tech dairy tech app. It's got around, I think, some odd 15 million users now. Who use it on a daily basis. Great product for rural India. And it also opened my eyes to one more set of problem that I had not looked at. What I realized is that I had worked in 3 different jobs for 3 entirely different audiences. Yeah, right? In EdTech, I was solving for students and maybe corporate employees or people who are working in tech but are early in their career. Then I went on to build something for fantasy sports. That is not definitely a need or a necessity as a product, right? But it's something that has grown out to be really big, and a very big market has been created for that. Then I worked in SaaS, right? I was catering to B2B, had no connection with my first 2 opportunities in the audience that I built for. And then I moved to a product or a company which was catering to people who do not even have the exposure to tech in the sense that we have it, right? And also that is what we also felt when the product was being built, and but that's a different story how it worked out. But so I realized that I've been working with different set of audiences, and what I felt is that this is, since I worked with different age groups and demographics, I picked up that opportunity to build something for people who do not have exposure to tech, because if you are building a tech product for them, you can think the challenges and the problems that would come are way different than if I was to build something for somebody like you and me, like people who have access to tech since we were kids. So I worked there for almost a year, and that is where, after leaving that company, I did not take up another job. I actually went on to build my own company with two of my colleagues. We started a company called Khetim, and हमने एक एरिया आइडेंटिफाई किया कि जब फार्मर्स फसल काटने जाते हैं, यानी हार्वेस्टिंग करने जाते हैं, से जो पीरियड है ऑफ सेलिंग दैट प्रोड्यूस इन द मार्केट, उसके बीच में वो ऑलमोस्ट 10 से 15% की अपनी इनकम दे लूज, राइट, बिकॉज ऑफ मल्टीपल इनएफिशिएंसीज, राइट. समथिंग एज सिंपल एज दैट वी वुड नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज. जब एक फार्मर को फसल काटनी होती है, उसके लिए क्या चाहिए? उसको चाहिए एक थ्रेशर होता है जो फसल काटने के काम आता है, राइट. मशीनरी होती है जो फसल काटने के काम आती है. या तो आपके पास पर्सनल लेबर है, गांव में बहुत लोगों के पास, या तो आप गांव से लेबर लेते हैं जिसमें बहुत टाइम लगता है, राइट, या फिर आप मशीनरी यूज़ करते हैं. अब वो मशीनरी आप रेंट पे लेते हैं, राइट. अब जब फसल कटने का टाइम है, जब पीक सीज़न है, तो सब लोगों को रिक्वायरमेंट है, सारे फार्मर्स को रिक्वायरमेंट है. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि आप आज रिक्वायरमेंट दोगे, आप रीच आउट करोगे आज किसी को, तो आज या कल में आपका प्रोड्यूस हार्वेस्ट होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. इट टेक्स 3, 4, 5, 6 डेज ऑल्सो, 7 दिन भी लग जाएंगे अगर आपके आसपास के एरिया में अभी कोई अवेलेबल नहीं है, राइट। अब मार्केट में एक सर्टेन प्राइस है बिकॉज पीक सीजन चल रहा है। अब जिन लोगों के पास, जिन फार्मर्स के पास ये एक्सेस अवेलेबल है, वो मार्केट जाएंगे, वो सेल करना स्टार्ट करेंगे, राइट। अब डिमांड जो है, सप्लाई जो है, नाउ दैट इज मीटिंग द डिमांड, तो धीरे धीरे मार्केट प्राइस जो है प्रोड्यूस की वो कम होगी, थोड़ा कम नीचे आने लगेगी, राइट। अब जब तक एक छोटे फार्मर के पास वो अपॉर्चुनिटी आती है कि वो फसल काटेगा और मार्केट में लेके जाएगा, तब तक जो प्राइसेस होती हैं वो पीक से काफ़ी नीचे आ गई होती हैं। सो अगर वो 5-10% भी हुआ तो ऑफकोर्स अगर आप द फार्मर हैज़ लॉस्ट दैट मनी, राइट। अगर उनके पास वो एक्सेस अवेलेबल होता व्हेन दे वांटेड टू हार्वेस्ट, दे वुड हैव मेड मोर मनी। वन, द सेम प्रॉब्लम हैपन्स विद ट्रांसपोर्ट। हर किसी के पास अपना ट्रैक्टर नहीं है, हर किसी के पास मशीनरी नहीं है उस प्रोड्यूस को घर से, खेत से घर या घर से मार्केट लेके जाने की। उसके लिए भी उन्हें एक्सटर्नल लोगों पर, एक्सटर्नल सर्विसेज पर रिलाई होना पड़ता है, मिडिलमैन पीपल जिनके पास ट्रैक्टर्स होते हैं, जिनका भी पर्टिकुलर काम होता है दैट दे हेल्प यू मूव योर प्रोड्यूस फ्रॉम वन फार्म टू योर होम या वहाँ से मार्केट लेके जाने के लिए, राइट। वो सेम प्रॉब्लम जो हार्वेस्टिंग वाली है वो यहाँ भी आती है। नॉट इनफ ट्रांसपोर्ट व्हीकल्स आर अवेलेबल हर गांव में। जितने छोटे गांव में आप जाओगे उतनी कम अवेलेबिलिटी होगी,
उसकी वजह से भी सम फार्मर्स,
राइट। तो अब आप वेट कर रहे हो कि 4 दिन बाद कोई आएगा तब मैं प्रोड्यूस लेके जाऊंगा, एंड ऑलरेडी बहुत सप्लाई बढ़ती जा रही है मार्केट में, राइट। डिमांड इज बीइंग मेट, तो प्राइस और कम हो गई है। अभी इतनी छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम है दैट वी वुड नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज अनलेस वी आर स्पेसिफिकली टोल्ड, या कोई हमें बताए कि ऐसा भी होता है। अनलेस यू हैव नॉट कम फ्रॉम दैट बैकग्राउंड, मे बी इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू इवन कंसिडर कि ऐसा कुछ होता है, राइट। बिकॉज सबको लगता है कि फसल कटी, मार्केट में चली गई। सो वी आइडेंटिफाइड, ऑफ कोर्स ओवर 3 months वी आइडेंटिफाइड कि ये एक स्पेस है जिसमें हम काम करना चाहेंगे पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट जो प्रोसेस है, टू टेक द प्रोड्यूस टू द मार्केट एंड सेल बेटर। मार्केट में अपनी मंडीज जो APMCs होती हैं वहाँ पे अपनी इनएफिशिएंसीज होती हैं, वहाँ पे देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ ट्रबल द फार्मर्स फेस, वेइंग से लेके द प्राइसिंग कार्टेल दैट गेट्स फिक्स्ड, राइट, कि इससे ज़्यादा प्राइस देना ही नहीं है। एक बार मार्केट में सप्लाई आ गई तो प्राइस भी फिक्स कर दी जाती है। आपस में APMCs में जो वेंडर्स होते हैं, राइट, उनका काम अलग है आइडियली, बट वो प्राइस फिक्स करते हैं आपस में, एंड नो फार्मर गेट्स पेड मोर देन दैट। तो अगर मार्केट में एक ज़्यादा प्राइस मिल भी सकती है तो भी फार्मर को नहीं मिलती है। एंड छोटे फार्मर्स जो होते हैं दे डू नॉट हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ बार्गेनिंग पावर, बिकॉज वो बहुत लिमिटेड प्रोड्यूस लेकर जाते हैं अपना, राइट। एंड अगर आप बड़े फार्मर हो आप नेगोशिएट कर सकते हो, बट अगर आप बड़े फार्मर हो तो आपके पास एक्सेस टू मशीनरी भी है, राइट। सो आप मार्केट में पहले हो, बट मोस्ट फार्मर्स इन इंडिया आर स्मॉल फार्मर्स, राइट। 1-1.5 एकड़ की ऑन एन एवरेज लैंड होल्डिंग होती है, तो और उसमें आप अपने लिए भी प्रोड्यूस करते हो कंजम्पशन के लिए, राइट। सो आप बहुत छोटे अमाउंट में क्वांटिटी में सेल करने जाते हो, यू लूज ऑल सॉर्ट ऑफ बार्गेनिंग पावर, यू फेस ट्रांसपोर्ट से लेके हार्वेस्टिंग टू मार्केट कंडीशंस, एक्स्ट्रा सप्लाई, द APMC प्राइसिंग जो कार्टेल दे फॉर्म, राइट। सो छोटा फार्मर इज डीलिंग विद ऑल दैट, एंड वी वांटेड टू सॉल्व इट फॉर देम। हमने ये डिसाइड किया दैट वी विल हेल्प दीज फार्मर्स गेट एक्सेस टू द थिंग्स दैट दे नीड एट द राइट टाइम, फ्रॉम हार्वेस्टिंग टू ट्रांसपोर्ट टू द प्राइमरी लोकेशन वेयर दे कैन सेल, विच इज APMCs. Then वहाँ पे we'll help them negotiate better. We had people that were working in APMCs, and then we hired them, right? So they knew how to negotiate, how to get a better deal for the farmers. And तो हमने start किया था our first experiment in March 2022, post COVID, and we were thinking that हम around 15 लाख तक का produce फॉर आर टेस्ट, फॉर आर एक्सपेरिमेंट, हमने डिसाइड किया था कि हम 15 लाख तक का प्रोड्यूस मार्केट में सेल करवाएंगे। फार्मर्स को रीच आउट करेंगे। 2-3 मेंबर्स की हमने टीम बनाई जो फील्ड पे जाके फार्मर्स से गांव-गांव में मिलते थे और उन्हें बताते थे कि हम आपको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और सब कुछ ऑन टाइम प्रोवाइड करेंगे, एंड विल ऑल्सो हेल्प यू रिड्यूस योर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट, बिकॉज वी कुड हायर पीपल ऑन लाइक दिस ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सर्विसेज जो हैं, हम अगर बल्क में लेते हैं सो वी जस्ट पे देम अ फिक्स्ड प्राइस, right, and the same people can be used to take produce of multiple farmers to the market one time. Yeah, तो वन टाइम में हो गया या फिर ऑन डिफरेंट डेज हो गया, राइट, बट एट अ लेसर कॉस्ट. सो वी स्टार्टेड विद 10 पीपल. हमने 10 लोग 10 फार्मर्स लिए, उनके साथ हमने ऑनबोर्ड किया. उसके बाद हमने उनके प्रोड्यूस जाके मार्केट में बिकवाया. इनिशियली फार्मर्स ने हमें बताया दैट दे वर नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग द काइंड ऑफ अमाउंट दैट दे गॉट थ्रू अस. इट्स नॉट अ वेरी बिग अमाउंट बट इट वॉज आई थिंक अराउंड 12% मोर देन दे थॉट कि अगर मुझे 5,000 रुपये मिलने थे, उससे फार्मर को लग रहा था कि मुझे 5,000 रुपये से ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस नहीं बिकेगा. They got 6,000 rupees, let's say, per quintal. And they told us that they were not expecting this, and we realized कि इतना छोटा सा एक change has helped a farmer make 8 to 10% more income. I know it's a small experiment, right? And then our idea was to, of course, do 15 lakhs worth of transactions. What happened in that month is from the third day onwards, we started receiving inbound calls from other farmers from the same villages जहाँ के फार्मर्स के साथ हमने काम किया था. और ऑफकोर्स जो 4 या 5 गांव के लोगों के साथ हमने काम किया था, और उन लोगों ने जाके अपने बाकी जो स्मॉल फार्मर्स हैं, अपने आसपास के लोग हैं, फैमिली के लोग हैं, को बताया कि मैंने ज़्यादा पैसे बनाए. एंड देन वी स्टार्टेड रिसीविंग जस्ट इनबाउंड क्वेरीज. तो हमारी टीम को फिर फील्ड पे जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी. एंड वी एंडेड अप डूइंग 1.8 crores of worth of transactions in that month, जहाँ पे हमारा idea was to do 15 lakhs.
That was your first month.
That was our first month. This is March 2023.
And also talk like
March 2022.
So
1.5 CR of worth of transactions that happen in that month through your company.
True. Yeah.
How much money the company Khetim as a company made in that also? Just tell me that also.
So we did not make any money. For the first 3 months, what we were trying to do was कि ये प्रॉब्लम किस स्केल पे हो सकती है. एक तो हमें ये नहीं पता था कि 15 लाख से 1.5 करोड़ और ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, राइट. सो वी वर लुकिंग एट अ वेरी स्मॉल स्केल कि इसके बेसिस पे हम और प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं, इवन डीपर प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट. बट उसका रिस्पॉन्स इतना अच्छा था दैट वी डिसाइडेड टू गो अहेड विद इट एंड ट्रांजैक्ट विद मोर फार्मर्स. तो पहले महीने 1.5 करोड़ हुआ. दूसरे महीने द सेम थिंग कंटिन्यूड, और फार्मर्स को पता चला धीरे धीरे. इट वॉज प्योरली वर्ड ऑफ माउथ. एंड नेक्स्ट मंथ आई थिंक वी डिड अराउंड 3 crores worth of transactions. Basically 3 crore worth of transactions we helped the farmers do.
Yeah.
Right? We were just providing them with the convenience कि आपको time पे maybe thresher और time पे transportation मिलेगा. There will be better negotiation that happens at the farm, APMCs. Right? We were just doing that. So next month we did around 3 crores worth of transactions. Helped the farmers do that much. Third month we did around 4.5 crores worth of transactions. तो इन 3 महीनों में we did not of course make any money. This was purely for us to identify कि और क्या deep problems हैं.
But you were also charging the farmers when you were providing these?
We were actually not charging them anything. The only thing that the farmers were charged for is the transportation, and that was also cheaper or than if they were to hire somebody by themselves, right? जैसे वो हर बार करते हैं. तो सिंस वी हैड इनकमिंग इंटरेस्ट, तो हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रांजेक्शन्स कर पाए. सो द इफेक्टिव कॉस्ट पर इंडिविजुअल ट्रांजेक्शन जो ट्रांसपोर्ट की कॉस्ट है, दैट गॉट रिड्यूस्ड, राइट. एंड फार्मर अगर पहले लेट्स से 1500 रुपये पे कर रहा था, वो 1000 रुपये पे कर रहा था फॉर ट्रांसपोर्ट. 500 रुपये का अमाउंट है, बट इट्स जस्ट अ वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट. बट
नहीं, बट इट इज़ लाइक इन कंपैरिजन ऑफ परसेंटेज इट्स लाइक मोर देन 40%.
या अराउंड 30%. हाँ, तो वो उतना पैसा उस फार्मर का बचा. तो so that is the only thing that we charged, and of course that got paid to the transporter, the person, the transportation service. 3 months into that we realized that so तब हम multiple commodities पे काम कर रहे थे, right. Commodities से मतलब है the different फसल, right. हम सरसों, चने, coriander seeds, हम इन सब के साथ काम कर रहे थे. 3 months of doing that, जो वो 10 करोड़ के ट्रांजैक्शन जो हमने सिर्फ फैसिलिटेट करवाई थी, उससे हमें रियलाइज़ हुआ कि जो द प्रोड्यूस दैट वी यूज़ फॉर कंजम्पशन, लाइक गेहूँ हो गया या चना एंड ऑल दीज कमोडिटीज़, राइट. सिंस वो कंट्री में बहुत जगह पे प्रोड्यूस होती हैं, ऑलमोस्ट एवरीवेयर इट गेट्स प्रोड्यूस। कहीं गेहूँ प्रोड्यूस होता है, वहाँ गेहूँ का कंजम्पशन ज़्यादा है, कहीं चावल ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस होता है, उधर कंजम्पशन चावल का ज़्यादा है, राइट। अगर आप उसको उस पर्टिकुलर APMC या मार्केट में जाके बेचते हो, द फार्मर कैन गेट अ बेटर डील डेफिनेटली, बट वी डिड नॉट फील दैट वहाँ पे हम वो बिजनेस बना पाएंगे बिकॉज मार्जिन्स आर वेरी थिन। 3-4-5% का मार्जिन होता है प्रोड्यूसर्स लाइक गेहूँ चावल, अगर आप एक जगह से ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हो दूसरी जगह पे, राइट। वॉट वी रियलाइज्ड वॉज कि आउट ऑफ द 6 कमोडिटीज, कोरिएंडर सीड्स एंड गार्लिक वर 2 मोर कमोडिटीज जो हम कर रहे थे दैट फॉल अंडर द कैटेगरी ऑफ स्पाइसेस, राइट। एंड वी रियलाइज्ड कि उनका जो ग्रॉस मार्जिन है, लाइक अ फार्मर जो लहसुन उगाता है या कोई भी मसाला उगाता है, रॉ स्पाइसेस, वो मार्केट में APMC में जाके एक सर्टेन प्राइस पे बेचता है। लेट्स से लहसुन ऑन एन एवरेज 20 रुपये का बिकता है मार्केट में, बट व्हाट यू बाय वो आपको 200 रुपये किलो का पड़ता है, राइट। तो वो देयर इज़ अ वेरी बिग डिफरेंस, क्योंकि 20 रुपये का फार्मर ने सेल किया, APMC ने लिया, राइट। नाउ दे विल ऐड देयर कमीशन, दे विल सेंड इट टू अनदर मार्केट, अनदर पार्ट ऑफ द कंट्री। फिर वहाँ से द बिगर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर वुड सेल टू स्मॉल डीलर्स, फिर वहाँ से रिटेलर्स, फिर रिटेलर्स से आपके पास आता है।
So basically the price hike between this whole process is more than 100%.
It's actually, अगर for this specific case I would say it's almost 1000%. It's 10 times.
It's 10 times.
Yeah. तो फार्मर ने 20 रुपये का बेचा है पर केजी, आप 200 रुपये का खरीदते हो। एंड ऑफ कोर्स बहुत सारी कॉस्ट आती है बिकॉज ट्रांसपोर्टेशन है, एवरीवन इन द चेन हैज़ देयर ओन कमीशंस। हाँ, तो यस,
So there are costs, but I think ये इतना बड़ा margin तो it's way too much.
राइट। तो द थिंग इज, अनलाइक अदर कमोडिटीज, स्पाइसेस जो होते हैं वो बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक एरियाज में होते हैं। दे आर ग्रोन एट वेरी कंसनट्रेटेड, इन वेरी हाई कंसनट्रेशंस एट वेरी स्पेसिफिक प्लेसेस। Like if I'm not wrong, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, and only a few cities in these 2 states, because these are 2 bordering states, so काफ़ी land behaves very similarly in those in that area. Almost 80-90% of India's garlic, the garlic that we consume, is produced in those few cities, right? And then it gets transported to every part of the country through multiple middlemen. Right, that is what increases the cost because everyone is going to make their commissions, right? And also you do not get a specific quality and quantity, not a specific quality because बहुत तरीके के गार्लिक प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, इवन इन द कंजम्पशन। आप देखते हैं एक छोटा गार्लिक, एक बड़ा गार्लिक है, दे आर डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज, राइट। तो डिफरेंट मार्जिन्स, सो हम ये इनएफिशिएंसीज हटाना चाहते थे, दैट वी वांटेड द फार्मर टू बी एबल टू मेक एटलीस्ट 10-15% मोर, राइट, व्हेन दे आर सेलिंग देयर प्रोड्यूस। And then we will take care of, either we'll buy from them or we'll help them facilitate कि हम आपका प्रोड्यूस दूसरे स्टेट में बिकवा सकते हैं और to a different vendor in a different city or a different state, right? While we would take care of the transportation, the packaging, the sorting of and grading of the produce, right? तो of course the farmer is happy because उनको मार्केट से थोड़ा better price मिल रहा है, including all the costs that we were bearing. We were able to get around 40% of gross margin because of course transportation is a very big cost.
From the farmer directly and selling it to?
Selling it to big distributors, but across different states. So we were selling in Telangana, we were selling in Karnataka, we were also doing a little bit of few transactions in Tamil Nadu. We were planning to go to Northeast to do the same, right? So we were selling it to a little distant locations because gross margins and transportation cost, उनसे price बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है.
So just help me understand with this one more thing. For example, अभी के time पे naturally एक farmer है, वो produce कर रहा है कोई spice, and then he sells the raw spice without like unprocessed.
Yeah,
APMCs को, and then these APMCs process it. And then they sell, or they also sell it unprocessed to the further, in further chain.
APMCs are nothing but mandis. Mandis का जो official name है by government is APMC, Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee, and their job is to give, their role in this entire value chain is to give the farmer a space जहाँ पे वो अपना माल लेकर आए और बेचे to bidders.
So जब farmer वहाँ पे लेके भी आता है अपना सामान, then APMCs charge them some money to sell it, ताकि वो sell कर सके.
हाँ, तो आइडियली होना ये चाहिए कि एक जो आड़त जिनको बोलते हैं, राइट, दी वेंडर्स, उनका वो क्या करते हैं कि आप एक फार्मर माल लेकर आया, उन्होंने वो प्रोड्यूस अपने पास रखा कि आप मेरे सेंटर पे लाओ, सबके पास लाइसेंस अलोकेटेड होते हैं, आप मेरे सेंटर पे लाओ एंड आई विल हेल्प यू सेल इट. फार्मर ने अपना माल वहाँ रखा, द वेंडर विल सेल इट टू बायर्स, जो भी आएगा, एंड बेस्ड ऑन द अमाउंट जो दैट गेट्स पेड, टोटल अमाउंट का, अगर मैं 100 क्विंटल प्रोड्यूस लेकर आया, 100 रुपये पर क्विंटल के हिसाब से बिका, 10,000 रुपये बने, राइट, मैं फार्मर हूँ. The Aditya, the vendor, will charge me a percentage of commission on the total amount that the amount being earned from the sale of that produce. तो वो मुझे कमीशन चार्ज करेंगे, बट इन रियल लाइफ वैसा होता नहीं है. बहुत इनएफिशिएंसीज हैं, एज आई वाज सेइंग अर्लियर, एंड इन अ लॉट ऑफ केसेस यू नो द प्राइस इतनी फिक्स हो जाती है, स्पेशली फॉर अ स्मॉल फार्मर, कि कोई खास फ़र्क पड़ता नहीं है उनको कि 4 दिन मेरा प्रोड्यूस पड़ा हुआ है, 2 दिन प्रोड्यूस पड़ा हुआ है, बिकॉज समबडी विल कम एंड बाय इट राइट देन एंड देयर. और फार्मर को ये डर होता है कि अगर वो आज नहीं बेचा उसने और उसको वापस लेके जाना पड़ा, नाउ देयर इज डबल द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट. और जब वो वापस लेकर अगर आ भी गया मार्केट में, लेट्स से 5 दिन बाद वापस आता है, तो पिछली बार आने और जाने की ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट, नाउ दिस टाइम द सेम, एंड देयर इज नो गारंटी दैट यू विल मेक मोर मनी, राइट. सो इफ़ यू वर टू कीप दैट प्रोड्यूस विद यू थिंकिंग कि 5 दिन बाद आके बेच दूंगा, आज मेरे को कम प्राइस नहीं मिल रही, वो पावर है ही नहीं छोटे फार्मर के पास.
So इसमें आप लोग किस जगह घुसे, मतलब did you remove APMCs or and then you were just directly purchasing it from the farmer and then selling it to the people who will process it further and sell it to into the market?
Of course, you cannot remove APMCs. I mean, there is a reason why APMCs exist. Whether they work efficiently or inefficiently is a different thing altogether. It was supposed to protect the farmers from external bidders. कि कोई आके farmer को ये ना बोल पाए कि you know that nobody from outside can manipulate the price. Now that manipulation actually happens inside APMCs.
But it's a government body, right?
Yeah, it's authorized and overseen by the governments.
Overseen by the government.
Okay. So that there is a smooth flow between the farmer and the buyer.
So farmer के पास एक फिक्स जगह है बेचने की, उसको 10 बायर्स के पास नहीं जाना है, उसको बायर नहीं ढूंढना है. कोई छोटे गांव में अगर कोई फार्मर रहता है, उसके पास बायर कैसे पहुंचेगा? या तो कोई बिग कॉर्पोरेशन है हु रीचेज आउट टू देम, कि हर गांव में एक एग्जीक्यूटिव जाके फार्मर से बात कर रहा है. सो वो हर किसी के पास नहीं हो पाएगा, राइट. तो फार्मर्स हैव टू कम टू द APMCs. हाँ, मतलब बेसिकली फार्मर अर्न्स द लीस्ट इन दिस एंटायर वैल्यू चेन. द पर्सन अर्निंग द लीस्ट इज द वन प्रोड्यूसिंग इट, जिसने सारी मेहनत करी, जिसने वो उगाया, जिसने जो खेत में जाके जिसने काम किया कई महीने, दैट इज द ओनली वन मेकिंग द लीस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ मनी.
बट आपको नहीं लगता था कि if you obviously you interfered in this process, you should have reached out to government instead and asked कि we will provide tech and through tech the farmer will be able to sell to the buyers easily and they will make more money.
Yeah.
And there are you could have told them that there are inefficiencies in the APMCs which are currently operating on the rural level.
7,000 APMCs इंडिया में, राइट. There is supposed to be somebody looking at every APMC, right? There is a representative. But वो भी उतना efficiently नहीं चलता है. But that is a different conversation. It's you know, talking about APMCs is a different conversation altogether.
Yeah, let's not also do that.
So the problem is the farmer has lesser opportunities. And we wanted to provide them more opportunities. Of course, we are not somebody to eliminate APMCs. We are not. Nobody is at that level apart from the government. अब हमने प्रोड्यूस खरीदा अगर और मुझे बाहर बेचना है, तो मेरा 3-4 दिन का प्रोसेस है ऑफ गेटिंग इट सॉर्टेड, ग्रेडेड, कि ये कौन सी रेटिंग का प्रोडक्ट है, प्रोड्यूस है. एंड देन द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. अगर आप राजस्थान से बेंगलोर, कर्नाटका कुछ भेज रहे हो, राइट, प्रोड्यूस, तो 2-3 दिन लगेंगे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में, राइट. दैट इज़ वेयर द वर्किंग कैपिटल of the company is stuck, right? क्योंकि मैंने वो प्रोड्यूस खरीद लिया, मैंने तो पे कर दिया, मैंने ग्रेडिंग सॉर्टिंग के लिए भी पे कर दिया है. तो अभी वो पैसा जब तक वहाँ जाएगा नहीं, बिकेगा नहीं प्रोड्यूस, तब तक मेरे पास कोई एज अ बिजनेस इनकम नहीं आएगी, राइट. सो वी वर इन दैट फेज व्हाइल वी वर बिल्डिंग, राइट. वी हैड आवर ओन मनी इन्वेस्टेड एंड इट वाज वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट. तो देयर वाज ओनली दैट मच वी कुड डू. तो इट्स अ रोटेशन गेम कि आप जितना ज़्यादा जल्दी पैसा ले पाओगे फ्रॉम द सेलर जिसको आप बेच रहे हो, यू कैन बाय मोर, राइट. एंड इन 2 to 3-4 months of the operations, we reached a point where we were EBITDA positive with whatever amount of transactions that we were doing. So we were able to do around 35 to 40 lakh worth of transaction The problem is that we were also trying to reach out to a lot of investors, and this is during the time where you must remember कि fundings काफ़ी reduce हुई over a period of last 2-3 years, right? Post-COVID, काफ़ी fundings reduce हुई हैं, and there has been a more bigger focus on profitability in startups, right? So it was very difficult for us to raise funds because I think because of that reason. The other one is कि everyone wanted to build a tech product. कि why are you not building a tech product? And of course, had we had the resources to do it, our idea was also to move towards a more tech product, and ops would be a part of it, of course, but it would have gone on to become a tech product in a couple of years, right? कि आप देख सकते हो कि एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में एक बायर है जो किसी भी पार्ट में बैठा हुआ है कंट्री के, देख सकता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में व्हाट काइंड ऑफ प्रोड्यूसर्स अवेलेबल, लेट्स से जस्ट स्पाइसेस, व्हिच इज व्हाट वी एंडेड अप डूइंग. इस पर्टिकुलर ग्रेड का इतना माल अवेलेबल है, इस पर्टिकुलर ग्रेड का इतना माल अवेलेबल है, राइट? एंड देन दे कैन बिड, द फार्मर गेट्स पेड अकॉर्डिंगली. It would have happened online if we wanted, if we could have done that, but of course we had lack of resources, especially the working capital.
When did you realize that it's actually a scalable business? If it is, it was a bit positive, and you guys were making money also. Some money you had in your account so that you can also purchase with that money also. So when did you realize that it's the time to take it to another level and scale it to a point where everything that we are doing can happen on through tech, where the buyer is connected with us because we are providing the thing, and also on some level, to a some level, you can also put farmer on the tech side as well. Like they can also update, what they have, when they have it, when it is ready for pickup and all, etc. So when did you realize that now we should go for funding?
I think we realized it in the first month of operations. As I said, जब हमने सोचा था कि 15 लाख की ट्रांजैक्शन करेंगे to identify कि ये whether we even have identified the right problem or not. And when we did 1.5 CR helped facilitate 1.5 CR worth of transactions, that is where we realized कि problem तो exist करती है. We could go deeper. While we were trying to identify that, we also decided that we should reach out to investors. Right? Because ऐसा नहीं था कि आप आज reach out करोगे तो आज बात करोगे, right? Maybe the process will take a day, a week, a month. It takes time. You have to reach out to all the potential investors that you think are the right people for this particular sector. मतलब सब agri-tech में invest नहीं करेंगे ना. तो there are a lot of VCs जो agri-tech में invest करते हैं, and everyone has their own thesis कि हम इन्हीं 5 industries में invest करते हैं. तो agri-tech वो same happens with agri-tech, right? There are VCs जो सिर्फ agri-tech में invest करते हैं. So we started reaching out to them with our proposal कि this is what we are trying to do, and of course every month we would send them a report कि इस महीने ये हुआ, तो मार्च में ये हुआ, अप्रैल में हुआ, and then we started getting the responses कि अच्छा ठीक है, we will want to hear what you guys are trying to build. We did that. Of course during the process we were also from March to May we did something, then we pivoted to just spices. पहले हम सारी commodities कर रहे थे. That is also something that we kept the people, the VCs that we were reaching out to, the investors we were reaching out to, we kept them updated that okay, now this is the transaction, this is the model that we are working on, this is the update, this is the progress. So that helped us कि while we were building हम साथ में reach out कर रहे थे, and at some point this the interest started coming in. We talked to pretty much every big VC that could have invested in a company at that stage, right? And we also talked to a lot of agri-tech founders who had their own successful companies, and we reached out to them for angel investing. So we were in the phase जहाँ पे we are identifying more things about what we are building, how to scale that. And of course, we realized कि हमें पैसा भी चाहिए उसके लिए scale करने के लिए, right? Working capital is needed. This is a capital-heavy business.
Actually, this is something that I will ask you after this, but you finish it.
हाँ, तो हम तभी से reach out कर रहे थे. मार्च में हमें realize हो गया था. तभी से हमने VCs को, investors को reach out करना start किया. May में we started having our proper conversations that went on for till the time Khetim existed. We kept having those conversations. We had a lot of conversations. There was some good interest. Of course, nothing worked at the end. But around November, December, when we realized that more working capital is needed, and of course some money of ours got stuck with a couple of buyers that we were dealing with, right? This is that sort of market. Cash में बहुत सारा cash deal होता है, तो अब अटक गया है, right? And now there is even lesser working capital for us to buy more. So that is उसके बाद 2-3 महीने we tried that capital would be required. We also tried not just from VCs, but on our end we also tried that we could get some more money from some other sources, maybe debt from friends and family and all that. Not much worked out for us, unfortunately, and 3 of us then decided in the month of almost about a year of starting Khetim in March 2022. We realized that this is not something that might work right now. Not that we do not have faith in the idea. We still think कि वो बहुत बड़ी problem है to solve. But of course we had to do something. We had to take a call because it was almost a year us trying to build that, and we could not get enough interest or capital to continue that.
It's actually sad when something like this happens with you because you've been trying to build something like this. Actually, I have a question that why do you think investors did not like this idea?
I don't.
Investing.
So I think my understanding would be that it is, as I said, it is a capital heavy business. There are 3 parts I would say. एक तो market में उस time like at that point there was less capital inflow, right? Less investments being done. The total number or amount of investment जो हो रहा था, that started reducing, right? So investors were definitely more cautious in where they put their money. Right? The second thing is it was a capital heavy business. It required consistent working capital, and of course, as I said, पैसा अटक भी सकता है. Right? That is like अगर आपके पास X amount of money है, उसमें से Y amount of money अगर stuck है market में, right? That is a risk that investor is willing. मतलब investor would also consider कि ये हो सकता है, right? And third is again, as I said, it was everyone wanted that there has to be a bigger tech part in it, right? Not just operations, and of course that is what would have happened at some point in next couple of years if we were able to secure funding and start building a product, a tech product, right? That is exactly what would have happened, but it didn't happen at that point, right? So maybe multiple reasons that I think these 3 reasons are the main ones which I feel because of which we could not actually secure funding, and so we decided to shut it down. And I don't think it's it's sad that it had to be shut down, but on the other hand I think it teaches you a lot. You start when you are working for a company and when you are trying to build your own, the approach that you take towards solving a problem or looking at a problem changes a lot. अलग तरीके से solve करने की try करते हो. You are considering a whole lot of different factors that you would probably not consider if I was an employee in Khetim. I would probably not be able to look at it. Not that I would not want to, but शायद मैं देख भी नहीं पाऊँगा as an employee unless some external help is provided. But as a founder you realize कि आपको हर तरीके से सोचना होगा, देखना होगा, and that has definitely helped me in the next step in my career at GenWise. I think the approach to look at different problems and how to solve them, that has definitely, in my personal skills, I would say that has grown a lot. Now I can see that the work that I do now, I can look at myself now and a couple of years back, and I realize that there's a very big difference in how I'm looking at problems now.
What is one thing that you would want to change? Like you feel that if we could have done that, it might have worked. What could be that, if there is anything?
What I would change, not much. I would say, whatever we could do, it's part of the process, right? We started with something. We started with the basic idea about a basic, group of people who were facing a certain problem. Of course, because of what we did and how we did it, we were able to identify a bigger problem, a bigger business opportunity, right? So all that is part of the process. If I could still go and change something, I would probably say that one, I would want to start at probably a year earlier, where of course the market had a little bit more risk-taking abilities in terms of the funding. And the other thing I would change is to have more working capital with me, my own working capital from whatever we had. If we knew that this is the direction we are going to take, I would like to have more money with me that could sustain the business for a longer period of time that it did in real, right? We had a specific amount. And if we had more, we would have been able to take it to a certain level where we would have the tech product and the, how it's working on the field, on ground, and the tech product both built. And I think that would have increased the chances of success, or maybe, raising capital maybe a lot more easier for us.
And so after Khetim, what you did, where you went, and
So after Khetim, my idea about building for another different audience is something that's a thought that's always in my head, right? What's the next group of people or users that I would like to build for? And I came across this company called GenWise, which was in their early phase. This is the place where I work right now, and I found it to be very interesting that they were building for a segment, a group of users who have been away, something that a group of people that no tech product is actually generally built for, right? For our elders, for people in our families, people above the age of 45, 50, right? If you notice, pretty much everything that gets built or gets, a new problem that is being solved, a new big startup that's coming, most of them are catering to younger audience, whether you're talking about e-commerce, fintech, healthcare, lifestyle, anything. It's pretty much catering to younger audience, or maybe because they might not just want to cater to the younger audience, but because tech penetration kam hai, shayad tech literacy utni nahi hai in the elders. So eventually, most products are used by people like our age, 18 to 30, 35, 40, उस range में होता है. Yeah.
Even lesser kids are also.
राइट सो सबके लिए कोई ना कोई प्रोडक्ट बनता है. ये पर्टिकुलर सेगमेंट है जिसके लिए सिर्फ हेल्थ केयर पे काम होता है, राइट? कि 45-50 से ऊपर के लोग हैं तो सिर्फ बीमार ही होंगे. दैट इट्स नॉट जस्ट हेल्थ केयर दैट आवर एल्डर्स वांट, राइट? देयर आर अ whole different set of problems that they face in their life, and we are building products to cater to them, to fulfill those needs, those requirements. And I chose to start working with GenWise because of this particular reason, because I wanted to contribute more. I would like to know that what are the problems that my parents also face that I have never been able to notice, right? So those are the things. That was one thing that I really found very interesting about GenWise, and it was the first time I actually heard a lifestyle product being built for elders, right? So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to work for a segment, for a group of people जिनके लिए कोई product नहीं बना है, and also I was उससे पहले भी in Khetim and in the previous company at Animall, we were also building for a group of people जिनके लिए मार्केट में बहुत कम प्रोडक्ट्स आते हैं, राइट? या टेक लिटरेसी उतनी नहीं है. सो इन दोज टू वेज इट वाज वेरी सिमिलर वर्किंग फॉर दिस ऑडियंस, बट ऑफ कोर्स वेरी डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, वेरी डिफरेंट स्पेस, सिंस दे डू नॉट हैव एनीवन टू टॉक टू इन मोस्ट केसेस, राइट? दे फील लोनली, and when they are feeling lonely, they do not again have anyone to talk to about the same problem that they are feeling lonely, right? So how does that actually get solved, right? Do they require, and of course there is no one way to solve that. I mean, you cannot just say कि loneliness problem है. Loneliness एक problem है, but it comes from different comes because of different reasons.
So how GenWise is solving this problem?
Okay, we have built multiple solutions. We have greetings. Greetings is nothing but a combination of 100,000 plus pictures, customized pictures, right? You see every day घर के family groups में messages आते हैं, right? Parents are sending good morning, good night, कुछ कहीं से forward करते हैं, किसी ने भेजा उन्होंने आपको forward किया. So we built a very small around this small idea कि हम आपको access, like we'll provide access to a lot of greetings on different occasions, good morning, good night, birthdays, anniversaries, right? And then you can customize it, तो आपने अपना नाम डाला, म्यूज़िक ऐड किया, राइट, यू कैन पर्सनलाइज इट, अपना फ़ोटो डाल के कि मैं आपको गुड मॉर्निंग बोल रहा हूँ, गुड नाइट भेज रहा हूँ. That is something that so many people liked. More people liked it. That response was much better than what we thought. Something as simple as that, right? And then what do? They maybe do some yoga, some exercises, right? And so we host live events for that every morning. Through these events, they are part of a bigger community. जो उनके साथ शायद physically present नहीं है, तो digitally they've been able to build those connections, and it's a very big shift in, I would say, how they behave or how they think. And then they also come to play games like Tambola and Quiz, where they also win small rewards. So sense of achievement bhi hai. So throughout the day, we build things that can cater to their day-to-day requirements. Another feature that we have built is GenWise Sathi. We thought that okay, loneliness is a problem. Maybe people want to share their feelings with somebody जो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं वो. So Sathi is these are very specifically I would say trained people who talk to elders. They are also trained in the way how to help elders tackle and deal with their problems. It could be something as small as, let's say, ki how do I better my relationship with my children, right? And it could go on to the user could go on to talk about ki I have I want to have better relationships with my spouse, or grief in some form that you've lost somebody, a close family member. So it ranges. All these things lead to their isolation, them feeling isolated, right? वो अकेला feel करते हैं. But the solution that we've tried building is that there are people who are empathetic, who understand how an elder is feeling, how to help them deal with that situation. We continue to, now we are even more bullish on building and reaching out to more elders and offer them this service, bring them on the platform. Yeah, it's been a great year at GenWise.
Yeah, I think from the lifestyle point of view also it is good, because not every household gets this opportunity to play all these tambolas every day, and learn new things from people who are very as you said that they're keen to educate them.
Yeah.
They're there to properly educate them, so it's easier.
Right.
So it's something that's I feel that it's a lifestyle upgrade for people who are in that age group.
Yes,
also.
Definitely. Because they are coming from physical world to tech. That is one big change, right? Because वो सारी चीजें उन्होंने physical की हैं. The whole point was कि tech adoption कैसा होगा, right? क्या tech समझ आएगा? So we have also tried building our product in a way from design to the ease of use, right? To how the icon should look, how that there are audio, guidance on each step or every feature that you are using. You can just press a button on the page and learn what this page is about. क्या इसमें मैं कर सकता हूँ? What is the service? Right? So you could say it's guided in a way that in very short ways and short audio forms आप उनको बता सकते हो कि इस चीज़ पे ये हो सकता है, and then they explore, right? So if you are helping them understand things in the right way, they will pick it up. They will, I mean, they are really, just because they are elders doesn't mean that they cannot pick up tech. They were just late to it. हम लोग शुरू से यूज़ करते हैं. But if you were to actually realize, most of the tech that we use, like all the smart, all the things that we talk about, has been not built by us, right? It's been built by people who would fall in the same category as elders. From cars to everything. It's for any product you can take, right? Any technology that you use has been built by a generation or two generations before you.
So now coming back to a very important question is, like, if someone, for example, I have identified a problem in the market and I see that there are no solutions for it, and we can bring some sort of tech product in it and that can solve that problem. How do I approach it? Like, how do I start? How do I begin? Where do I begin also? And what are the factors that I have to look for before starting a product?
The first thing I would do if I were to come across a problem is to validate it. Right? Validate it how? Let's say मुझे लगता है कि so I have a pet, right? And उसकी grooming, उसका taking care of him, right? It takes different amount of efforts, ठीक है? Grooming के लिए लेके जाना है, घर से काफ़ी दूर है, right? चलो we still have a lot of access. NCR में, we live in NCR, right? So we have a lot of access. ज़्यादा दूर नहीं जाना पड़ेगा. But if you are working, तो आप नहीं लेके जा सकते, right? अब मुझे अगर ये प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई होती है कि पेट का जो ग्रूमिंग प्रोसेस है या द प्रोसेस बिटवीन आई टेकिंग माई पेट, बुकिंग अ ग्रूमिंग सेशन, देन टेकिंग माई पेट टू अ गुड प्लेस, देन हाउ डू आई ट्रस्ट अ न्यू प्लेस, लाइक लेट्स से यू आर अ न्यू पेट ओनर, राइट? जब आप पहली बार में पेट को ग्रूमिंग के लिए लेके जाओगे, यू विल फील वेरी अ लिटिल बिट स्कैर्ड, आई वुड से, कि हाउ वुड इट हैपन, वो कैसे ट्रीट करेंगे, और ऑलवेज कंसर्न कि उसको ट्रीट कैसे करेंगे, आपके पेट को कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं होगी, बिकॉज यू हैव एन इमोशनल कनेक्ट विद देम, राइट? तो आपको वो डर रहेगा. हाउ डू यू ट्रस्ट कि आई एम गोइंग टू द राइट प्लेस, बिकॉज अगर कुछ भी हुआ, कोई चोट भी लगी, तो यूल बी वेरी स्केयर्ड, यूल बी एंग्री. आई नीड टू, ये मुझे प्रॉब्लम फेस हुई, लेट्स से. नाउ व्हाट आई नीड टू डू इज, if I were to validate it, I would go and talk to more people who are new pet owners, right? And some old pet owners, people who've already had pets for, like, let's say a longer period of time, and go and try to talk to them about, and I would not probably prefer to just tell them कि अच्छा क्या आपको इस चीज़ में प्रॉब्लम आती है, because then I'm just I have this bias that I need to verify what I know, right? I need to know that if they feel the same problem exists for them without me having to ask, right? So maybe for an example, I would I'd just go to आस-पास की 3-4 grooming spas, dog spas जो होंगे, वहाँ पे I'll go and I'll talk to people who come there, right? And try to identify कि as pet owners, what are the problems that they face. It could be something else apart from grooming as well, right? I do not need to tell them कि ये मेरा space है, ये मैं इस बारे में सोच रहा हूँ, and then whether they face the same problem or not, right? Because I'm still talking to very limited number of people. I would talk to multiple people. Let's say I talk to 20-25 people, and I will try to see if how many of them actually think by themselves that this problem exists. And then I'll maybe want to do another test with these 4 problems being the core focus. Ki I'll reach out to more pet owners, because this is free, right? If you're trying or thinking about building a business or an idea or a problem that you think exists, before you invest money or efforts in building a product or solution for that, you need to know कि वो problem बाकी लोग face करते हैं कि नहीं, and then identify that okay, this problem is faced by most people. It's the most commonly faced problem, and that becomes, let's say, my core idea or base idea. So I'll build that core product first as my MVP, right? And MVP is the minimum viable product, a basic product that you need to build to be able to test your hypothesis, and then you can see whether it's something that's people are using. If you are marketing it to enough people, if it gets used, now you have pet owners who would be giving you feedback, right? You can talk to them, you can stay in touch. That most importantly, you should always stay in touch with the people, the users you are actually building for, right? So if you're building that app, you talk to more people, you get more access to information, you get more access to the problems that they face, right? And that helps you get the direction on what should be your next step.
So, for example, if I have done all these steps, now I have, for example, 100 special users whom I talk with also. They are using the product that I've built, and it's actually helping them in. How do you scale it also?
So, improve things is not, something that you do once and then it's done. A product is improving every day. Right? You are making small changes that improve the product every day, that improve the user experience on a daily basis. You get to choose that whether you want to go deeper into the solution that you are building in the same product, or do you want to offer more range of solutions for different set of problems for the same user base. And you, of course, you have to see whether it's a feasible investment. Is it feasible to invest in building multiple solutions? Right? You'll have a limited number of amount of capital. You'll have limited number of small number of team or limited number of people building a solution, right? So you'll have to look at all of that.
So let's say that I now have identified that I am going to double down on one problem that I feel that a lot of users are facing, and then how do you like obviously I've tested the product, there is some scope that the money can be made from it also. So, and then this funding part comes in play. So, like, how do you approach it? Like, how do you decide whether do you need a funding or how to take a funding also?
Okay. So see, since you know my story, I could not raise funds, right? But it was a business that we wanted to raise funds for. It required capital, right? We could not do it with the capital that we had. The thing is, not every business can get VC funding or external funding, and not every business needs it either, right? Some people, like all the previous businesses, जब ये नहीं भी थे, external funding उतनी नहीं भी होती थी, तो भी businesses तो बन ही रहते, right? From other sources of capital maybe, but debt or funding or families or whatever. But not every business would require it. If you require it, you have to think whether it's big enough for a investor to be able to make good money as well.
I have to say it has been a very insightful conversation with you, and I personally have learned a lot of things. I've personally learned how to communicate things to the user, how to really think if you're trying to build a product in this industry.
Yeah. I hope, thank you so much Sahil for inviting me. And yes, I do hope that even if one person gets to learn a little bit about something, whether it's product or building your own business, I think that will be a win for both of us. Yeah. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was a great conversation. And thank you so much.